President Tumelo Palala to give the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Madam SAA. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, visiting Toastmasters, and guests. It's an absolute honor to stand before you tonight as we gather to celebrate a truly momentous occasion, the 100th anniversary of Toastmasters International. 100 years ago today, a visionary named Ralph C. Smedley sparked a movement that has transformed millions of lives across the globe. Tonight, we are not just celebrating a century of public speaking excellence and leadership growth. We are celebrating the countless individuals who, like me and you, have embraced the Toastmasters journey to become more confident, more courageous, and more influential communicators. As members of the Gaborone Toastmasters Club, we are a part of a legacy that stretches back through decades of inspiration, learning, and personal triumph. Each speech, each evaluation, and all the leadership roles we take up to contribute to this legacy and remind us that the journey to self-improvement never ends. In the spirit of tonight's celebration, let's take a moment to reflect on how Toastmasters has touched our lives, challenged us to grow, and united us as a community of learners and leaders. We have the privilege of standing on the shoulders of those who came before us, and it's up to us to carry this torch forward. So let's celebrate not just the past 100 years, but the next century of possibilities. Here's to the journey ahead, where we will continue to learn, grow, and support one another. Thank you, and let's make this evening one to remember. As usual, we have our Toastmaster of the evening, who will lead our meeting tonight and also lead us to an exciting segment with our distinguished guests. Toastmaster Lamim Tetra, please take it away.
Okay, it looks like Lame is having technical difficulties and is dropped off the call, so I will stand in for her until she hopefully comes back to rejoin the meeting. So as Toastmaster of the day, this is basically what you refer to as the MC. So that's the person who steers the meeting and just make sure that the things run well. But obviously, this is not a role that is undertaken just by one person. There are actually several people who help to undertake this role. And as stated by the welcoming remarks by our club president, Tumelo, today's meeting is a special meeting because today we're celebrating the 100 years of Toastmasters International. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, guests, this wonderful organization we've had the privilege of being a part of is celebrating its centennial anniversary today. So I'd like us all to unmute ourselves and give a very big clap to Toastmasters, woo, 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 and those kinds of things. Let me hear those. Give a big head. Yes. So it's 100 years of helping people develop their public speaking and their leadership skills. It's definitely an amazing celebration to undertake. So the next part of our agenda is where we would then do the toast. And I was actually the one who was scheduled to give the toast for the meeting. So I'd like to encourage you, if you are able, you can just grab your cup with some water or some juice or whatever as I get into the toast of the day. And I can see our Toastmaster of the day slowly coming back. So just grab yourself a cup or something. I will be doing the toast of the day. I had written down something. Okay. All right. So, marking 100 years of excellence, the centennial celebration of Toastmasters International is a testament to its enduring impact on personal and professional development. Over the past century, Toastmasters has empowered individuals to find their voice, build leadership skills, and foster meaningful connections across the globe. As we celebrate this historic milestone, we look forward to continuing the legacy of transforming lives and shaping confident, capable leaders for the next 100 years. So please raise your glass or cup or whatever and toast with me to 100 years more. You can unmute yourself and just toast to 100 years more.
100
100
years.
100 years.
Yes,
Yes.
more.
All right. Lame, I'm not okay, she's back. Hello, Lame, I can hand back to you. We just did the toast. Good evening, Lame. Oh, there we go.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Leah. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening, guests. Welcome to today's evening meeting of Gaborone Toastmasters Club. We are celebrating 100 years of Toastmasters. My name is Lame Mtetwa, and I will be your Toastmaster of the day. In English, I'll be your MC or your master of the program. And with that said, I would like to hear from you what this milestone means for you. How has it been for you? How has this personal development journey been for you? I just want to hear from you. You are free to share in the chat box how this journey has been for you. Your aha moment, your up moment, your down moment, any exciting moment that you just want to share in the chat box. I see Timel saying, it has been amazing. Anybody else, how has this milestone been for you? Any aha moment to share or an interesting experience you've had as a Toastmaster or in any Toastmasters meeting? Anybody else? Outstanding. I can see our hack master. Getting out of my comfort zone, indeed. Toastmaster has pushed some of us out of our shells. Anybody else, how has this been for you? It's been an exciting time for some people. I know for some people it's been a challenging moment. I know for some of us, we've had moments where we wanted to throw into the towel, where we just wanted to give up and felt like this is way too much. But we are still here. We're still pushing. We're still building. And we're still going to grow with Toastmasters. Fantastic. I've grown a lot since I joined. Lovely, lovely. Those are some of the testimonies that we're getting from some of our members who've been our club. Sub Toastmasters has toasted, received awards again after years of drought. I am so excited. That's from Tebogo Matong, who is also a visiting Toastmaster. One of the amazing things about our organization is that you are free and welcome to join any online meeting to build and to develop your communication skills or your leadership skills. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be moving on with our program. Just to introduce to you how our program looks like this evening. We have 3 segments. We're going to have the prepared speakers. Then we're going to have a table topic session. Then we're going to have an evaluator section. And with our prepared speakers, we have an educational. And I promise you, it's going to be more and more and more exciting. So don't dial out, just sit there and wait for this empowering moment. In Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, we believe in teamwork. And with that said, I'm not alone in sailing today's ship. I have a team of amazing Toastmasters who are ready to lead this meeting with me. I will be calling onto the virtual stage the timer, our timer today, and I'd like them to introduce themselves and also introduce their role to us. Timer, the virtual stage is yours.
Good evening, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It is my pleasure to serve as a timer for today's auspicious occasion as we celebrate 100 years as Toastmasters. The whole purpose of taking up this role is to practice time management skills and to ensure that the meeting runs as per the allocated time slots. We have the icebreaker speeches, which should be between 4 to 6 minutes. At 4 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 5 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. And at 6 minutes, I will raise the red card. And then we have other prepared speeches, which are between 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 6 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. And at 7 minutes, I will raise the red card. We have the evaluations, which should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Matsidiso. I remember the very first time when I met Toastmaster Matsidiso, and I can really testify that indeed she has really grown. I remember she hesitated to even take up a role. And this time around, with every meeting, she raises up her hand to take up a role. Thank you, Toastmaster Matsidiso. I'll be moving on to our hack master, Toastmaster Hasina. Toastmaster, please introduce yourself and introduce your role to the audience.
Sorry. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You can go ahead.
Toastmaster Hasim. Okay. I believe she's also experiencing some technical issues. We'll just give her a moment to settle. I'll be moving on to our R&R counter. R&R counter, please introduce yourself and your role to the audience.
Greetings, Madam Toastmaster, my fellow Toastmasters, and guests. The purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a clash, and sounds that are used as pause fillers by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for the overused words, including and, well, but, so, and, you know, I'll also listen to filler sounds, including and I also note when a speaker repeats a word and a phrase, such as I, oh, this, this. And at the end of the meeting, I will report the number of the times that each speaker used the expression. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Leah. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also having my own share of technical issues on my side. Thank you, Toastmaster Alexis. I'll be handing over now to our Hackmaster, Toastmaster Hasina. Toastmaster Hasina, are you ready to take us through your role? Toastmaster Hasina, are you ready? I think she's not yet ready. Then we'll move on to our grammarian. Toastmaster Lola, please introduce yourself and your role.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. As grammarian tonight, I am firstly tasked with introducing the word of the day, and today that is astounding. The word astounding is an adjective or a word used to describe something that is surprisingly impressive or notable. For example, one of my favorite things about Botswana is its astounding sunsets. Secondly, I am tasked with taking note of any astounding usage of the English language. I will also be taking note of any improper use of the English language and the use of the word of the day. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lola. I'll be inviting on stage our table topics master, Toastmaster Tumelo Mapalala. The floor is yours. Please introduce yourself and introduce your role.
The table topics is Tato.
My apologies, Tato, Toastmaster Tato. Please introduce yourself and your role.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. My name is Tato Komane. I will be your table topic master for today. So table topics, what exactly is table topics? Table topics is one of the best ways to practice thinking and speaking on our feet, or in other words, impromptu speaking. We never know where we may be asked a tough question, either by a supervisor at work, or a job interview, or even asked to give unprepared eulogy. It is to our best benefits to practice impromptu speaking and to be in control of the situation. Even if you don't know the exact answer, you should just try. So table topic speeches are between 1 minute to 2 minutes. So anyone who doesn't have a meeting role for tonight's meeting, table topics is for you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tato. Today is a first, Tato. I don't know if you realize that, because all the time that I've been the Toastmaster of the Day, Tato Komani has always been the general evaluator. So today it's a what a way to celebrate 100 years. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tato. We'll be now moving on to Toastmaster Hasina, our Hackmaster. I hope she is now ready to take us through her role. Toastmaster Hasina.
Yeah, good evening, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guest. Today, my role as a Hackmaster, I'll be asking few questions from the speeches and the full activities today. And my purpose is not just to test your speaking ability, your listening abilities, but also a way to give back to our speakers. And I'm proud to be a part of this astounding 100 years celebration of our International Toastmaster clubs. Congratulations to everyone. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hasina. You've heard it, ladies and gentlemen. That's our listening police officer. So she'll be putting on questions later. She'll come back to the virtual stage and expect all of us to answer every question that she'll be having. Last but not least, I'll be inviting our general evaluator, Toastmaster Omata. Please introduce yourself to my amazing audience and introduce your role.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Omar Tlale Epo, and I'll be the general evaluator for today's meeting. So basically, as the general evaluator is to give feedback, the overall feedback of how our meeting proceedings went. And I will be doing that with my fellow Toastmasters who are playing different roles. So over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, General Evaluator. She will be overseeing the evaluation section. You've heard it from, Thank you, General Evaluator. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from our timer who will be tracking the time for all the speakers to make sure that all the speakers speak within the allotted time. You've heard from the R counter whose role is to keep track of the filler words, the R, the the so's, the and. Then we've also heard from our grammarian who shared the word of the day, which is astounding. And we are all encouraged to incorporate it in our speech, whether you're a prepared speaker or whether you'll be participating in the improper speaking. And lastly, we heard from our general evaluator, who will be overseeing the evaluation of how we're conducting our meetings, what we can work on, what we can improve, and what we did best. And we also heard from our hack master, who is our listening police officer. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, just a gentle reminder that the agenda has been shared in the chat box. You are free to download it. And I want to believe that also our background has been shared in the chat box for everyone to use it. Today we're celebrating 100 years. Let's not forget, we're looking back at how Toastmasters has been for us. As I had promised that we have 3 segments for today's meeting: the prepared speeches, the table topics, and the evaluations. We will be starting our prepared speeches with an educational. Now, I would like to introduce our next speaker. This man, or this gentleman, has always been the youngest in all the roles he has played. This traces back to when he was 10 years old. When he was still doing 5th grade, he took part in a public speaking contest, which was meant for 7th graders. Indeed, the youngest. For his first Toastmasters meeting, I remember him sharing that he found himself to be the youngest Toastmaster or the youngest attendee in the room. At the age of 26, he made history as the youngest CEO of Toastmasters Southern African District. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome. I'm not sure if today he's the youngest in the room. We'll find that out later because he has a tendency of being the youngest in every role that he takes. So I'm not sure about today. But ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a true advocate of millennial leadership, a Toastmaster who has been celebrated thrice as a DTM, Distinguished Toastmasters. Help me welcome to the virtual stage, Andrew Tsuru.
Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you, Lame. Let me take you back to 1924 to actually understand the significance of what we're celebrating today. It is October 22, 1924, 100 years ago. In that room is someone breathing a sigh of relief. Finally, he's been able to officially register the first Toastmasters Club, a community of people who really are determined and desperate to improve their communication and public speaking skills. It's a small group, but he believes he has done his part. But you see, no event, much like today, just wakes up and happens. In 1904, Dr. Ralph C. Smedley looked into his world, in his community, particularly his work in the YMCA, the Young Men Christian Association. And when he looked around, he probably saw fine men like you and I. I'm not trying to be astounding in any way, but those men had all the intellect, but lacked the confidence, the courage to communicate their ideas clearly and confidently. Does that ring a bell in today's world? In 1904, Ralph Smedley had seen this need, and he decided, my contribution to society shall be helping empower young men to develop their communication and leadership skills. It took him 20 good years to get there. What would you have done if you were Ralph Smedley? Because for 20 good years, you are trying to get something off the ground. Many of us have businesses that we run. Imagine 20 good years of getting your first set of clients, 20 clients to get it going. Would you still have been pursuing? But like I said, Ralph Smedley said to himself and the people around him, I believe, this will be my contribution to society. In 1924, after these 20 years, he managed to get the first Toastmasters Club started. Years later, it wasn't just for the Young Men Christian Association. We welcomed women in the 1970s. And when we welcomed women into the Toastmasters, Toastmasters became better for it. Today, 2024, October 22, 2024, you and I are beneficiaries of Dr. Ralph C. Smedley's contribution. Do you believe or think in the slightest of sense, in the 20 years that he was struggling to get this program off the ground, do you in the slightest of thought think he had this idea that what he had as a contribution to society would be such an astounding introduction to what we see today as the global Toastmasters International? Do you think he had that idea? I don't think so. And if we were to go with my assertion, and anyone else who shares that assertion with me, you would realize that you and I today have the same responsibility as Dr. Ralph C. Smedley had, to identify a need and to offer your contribution. I was asking myself a few years ago when I then found myself benefiting from Toastmasters. You see, with me, on the 19th of January 2015, I walked into a small room full of gray-haired men and women who I actually, prior to my experience of a Toastmasters meeting, very much respected, because they were industry leaders in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. And so we would see them on TV, would hear of them and their contribution in newspapers. They were industry captains. And I thought, wow, I've made it. I'm in the room. I'm on this particular seat around the table with leaders in the corporate space, only to be disappointed when one of them came up to give what they call an icebreaker. For those that don't know what an icebreaker is, it's the very first speech that a Toastmaster gives when they start their journey to developing effective communication skills. In this icebreaker, it's a very simple project. Tell us about yourself. 4 to 6 minutes. How difficult could that be? Oh boy, was I not embarrassed, disappointed by what I saw. This gray-haired man trying to give an account of his life. It can't be that difficult, can it? As he went on. To some level, around 3 minutes of his speech, he asked to start again. And he did. And for 10 good minutes, I was just watching. At some point, I wanted to laugh, but I felt out of place because I was the only one laughing. You see, where I come from, the schools where I came from, if you couldn't enunciate and pronounce the English words properly, stay away from public speaking. And so, yes, they asked me after the session, how did you find your experience? To be honest, the only reason I stayed in that meeting was because they were offering us Coca-Cola, and I couldn't say no to Coke then. But truly, I then was disappointed with the meeting. In fact, I was more disappointed with how they reacted to this gray-haired man who was an industry captain. Surely there must be standards. Aren't there standards in your life? The gentleman who was then revealed to me as the vice president of membership says to me, Andrew, don't you know people in your world, in your community, who've got so much to contribute, but lack the confidence and decide to keep it aside? Don't you sometimes have great ideas that you have and you think, this is such a great idea, but you're like, I don't want them to judge me. What if it's not that great? What if I'm overthinking it? He got me because I do know such people. Do you? I also have those moments where I'm thinking, it's not my place. And from that conversation, he helped me understand that Toastmasters exists to give confidence and courage to people like you and I, who sometimes have a moment of doubt, who believe less of ourselves and want to develop that confidence in order for us to give our contribution. And when I look back to that day, when I eventually signed my membership form, I always asked myself, what would my contribution be when I get the confidence and the courage to produce that contribution? Today, I want to ask you to ask yourself, what is my contribution to the society and environment around you? Because I believe Toastmasters is the vehicle that you have at your disposal to take you from where you are to where you want society to be. And it doesn't have to be something that lasts the next 100 years. Neither does it have to be something that you carry on your shoulders on your own. Because believe you me, when I look at Toastmasters today, and when I celebrate the centennial of Toastmasters, whilst I celebrate the contribution Ralph C. Smedley has given, I celebrate each and every member who has taken time, the step of courage to deliver their speech because we are richer for it. I celebrate each and every evaluator who has taken time to give thoughtful, constructive, positive feedback because we're richer for it today. I celebrate the R-counter, the general evaluator who has given us feedback that has become breakfast for the champions that we seem to be in our society today. I celebrate the club officers who week in, week out, without any salary or remuneration, serve to help enrich and empower each and every member across the over 150 countries, 350,000 plus members, to then ensure that you and I are able to give our contribution to our communities, our cities, our countries, our continent at large. What is your contribution? Toastmasters is that vehicle that can help you ensure your contribution is well received. Because through Toastmasters, we develop public speaking skills in order for our contribution to be verbalized and communicated to the masses, confidently so, because we lead through speaking. Many movements were inspired and influenced by the power of speech. Talkers have always led, and they will continue to rule. And apparently, the smart thing is to join them. Toastmasters has in its arsenal the vehicle of public speaking for your contribution to be accepted and realized. Toastmasters not only gives you public speaking, but it gives you the confidence to then take a contribution to the market. I have been able to start my own business as a result of the Toastmasters Empowerment Program. And through it, I've been able to walk into boardrooms that I never imagined I would at my tender age, let alone at any point in my life. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to reach out and then be able to use that approach to then change your life, just as mine has. Toastmasters not only gives you the public speaking and the confidence, but it also gives you an opportunity to develop your management skills, whether it's time management or resource management. Toastmasters allows you to be able to do so many things in little time, simply because of the time management skills that we get, the management skills that we have to manage the resources. I, for one, have learned to be resourceful in Toastmasters. My business did not receive any funding from the government. And so I don't blame and complain to the government that I wish they could give funding, they could make funding available. I've learned to be resourceful through negotiation skills and ability to negotiate and trade. Barter trade is what it is. Today, I am better for it. Toastmasters gave me the management skills for that. Toastmasters has afforded me the leadership skills in order to lead teams in various environments without the imposter syndrome of being young or Black or any other stereotype that is associated with you and I when we walk into a room. Toastmasters has afforded me the ability to influence people so that they too can rally behind a movement. It is for that reason that a few years ago, when I had the opportunity to serve Toastmasters across Southern Africa, I wanted to start my movement of redefining leadership in our continent. So much so that when we start defining leadership in our continent, it's not synonymous to corruption. No, it's synonymous to old age and old systems, but synonymous to excellence, to respect, to integrity, and excellence. How are you contributing to the society that you're part of? And ultimately, not only does Toastmasters give us all this, Toastmasters gives us the strategic thinking helmet in order to see in the future what we may need. Ralph Smedley gave us his contribution. I've shared what my contribution is. The question I have is, what is your contribution? Zig Ziglar says it well. If I want to have all I want to gain in life, I have to help other people gain all they want to gain. And so I want to challenge you to contribute and to offer your contribution to your community, to your company, to your city, to your country, to this continent at large. It may be as simple as documenting your experiences on social media so that our artificial intelligence can be wired and centered with the context of your sharing. Because unless your story is out there, other people out there can never know about it. It can be as simple as you reaching out and helping and mentoring, sponsoring a young person to come into their different setting and find their voice. You are making your contribution. And it can be as simple as taking that business idea to making it a product or service that you and I know that we need. The continent has so many needs that you and I can contribute toward. It doesn't have to be something big. Other people will help you make it bigger. Just as in 1924, Dr. Ross Smedley was able to gather 20 people. Today, Toastmasters talks of over 5 million people who have benefited from this program. Was it by his own doing? No, but his contribution is what we're celebrating today. What contribution will we be celebrating from you when the year ends, in 10 years' time, or in a century's time? I look forward to celebrating it, at least in my lifetime. Back to you, Madam MC.
Thank you, DTM Andrew Tsuru. What is your contribution? What is your contribution to the community? How are you making sure that whatever you get from Toastmaster doesn't stay in Toastmaster, doesn't remain in Toastmaster, but it goes and benefits your community? How do you make sure that all what you are learning, all this encouragement, the empowerment, the motivation, the true support that we get from our mentors, from other members, how do you make sure that doesn't stay or remain in Toastmasters, but you take it out to the community? What is your contribution? I'd like to hear from you, ladies and gentlemen. From here, how are you going to contribute? Share in the chat box. How are you going to contribute? How has today's message challenged you? How have you been challenged? What are you going to do differently from here? We have heard from him. What is your contribution? We are here today because of someone's contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Andrew Tsuru.
Woo woo!
Thank you very much. Woo! What a way to celebrate 100 years Gaborone Toastmasters Club. We were privileged enough to have Andrew Tsuru as our guest speaker for this meeting as we're celebrating 100 years. Thank you very much for availing yourself. And it was such a blessing to have you in this meeting. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be moving on with our program. Ooh.
All right, it looks like she's dropped off again. So I'll just step in as the interim Toastmaster of the day until she returns. So as she was saying, we'll move on with our program and we'll get into our prepared speakers. We have 3 people who have prepared their speeches, whether it took them a week or 2 or more. So we are going to have our first speaker, but before the first speaker comes to the virtual stage, I'd like to invite their evaluator to please come and share the speech objectives of our first speaker. And there's our Toastmaster of the day. But evaluator number 1. Samgele. Hi, Samgele, if you could just unmute yourself and please tell us the speech objectives of our first speaker.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, and good evening, everyone, guests and visitors. Today, my role is to evaluate Tumelo Maphalala, for her icebreaker speech. And the speech title is This Is Me. And the speech length is 4 to 6 minutes. The purpose of the purpose statement of the speech is for this project is for the member, which is Tumelo, to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Okay.
Apologies.
Go first, Leah.
Lame, you may go ahead.
Thank you very much, Leah. Sorry for that confusion, Tumelo Mapalala. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Tumelo Mapalala. This is me, Tumelo Mapalala.
I know how this looks. She's the president of the club. How is she giving an icebreaker speech? Well, when I gave my first icebreaker speech, when I joined the club in August 2022, I got my first birthday and indeed my first icebreaker speech meant to introduce myself to the club. However, I said little to nothing about myself. I may have mentioned where I grew up, but other than that, I did not mention much about myself because I couldn't stand the idea of having to tell people about me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to reintroduce myself as I embark on a new pathway tonight. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, visiting Toastmasters, and guests. My name is Tumelo, no middle name, Mapalala. Tumelo is a name I was given by my mother. My father figured he would let my grandfather give me a second name. My grandfather heard the name Tumelo, loved it, and decided it was befitting a name for me. Tumelo is a Setswana name meaning faith, and it was an ode to my mother's faith in her bearing children. If you haven't guessed it already, I'm an only child. I may have been born an only child, but I was definitely not raised an only child. There was always a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, or someone else living with us, so I never got the full benefits of being an only child. When I was born, I found my paternal aunt, my youngest aunt, living with my parents, and she doubled as my sister and still does to today. I was born to a primary school teacher mother and a father who was a fitter machinist at the BCL mine. Therefore, I grew up in the small town of Silibepikwe in the northeast of Botswana. As a matter of fact, it was considered the largest town in Botswana. It was small in my eyes. It is there that I attended a primary school where we were encouraged to take up all sorts of interests, all manner of interests, be it in the sporting, creative, or even academic fields. And it is there that I sang in the choir, swam on the swimming team, and also was chosen many a time to deliver a speech about how school events were conducted. It is also there where I struggled with the Setswana language. It was so bad that my primary school mother teacher banned me from using the English language in our home. And she tutored me herself until I got a B in my grade 7, Form 3, and Form 5 examinations. And to her, I am forever grateful. For my Form 1, however, I went to a public school, and my interests dwindled, if you ask me. It's there where, instead of being on the debate team, I wrote for the debate team. I was the brain and not so much the mouth of the debate team. I enjoyed my time there. I won't complain. But when I moved to Gaborone to pursue my Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences at the University of Botswana, I kept to my small group of friends from my hometown. I remember Mughal Catering Canteen hated to see us coming. We were a loud and rowdy bunch, but I was only loud in my group of friends. I was quiet everywhere else. It was also in university that I learned about Toastmasters. I heard my aunt, remember her, and her friends talk about a certain Toastmasters club, and I figured probably adult content and did not engage. At the end of my studies, I was offered an opportunity to be on the National Internship Program and stationed at a pharmaceutical company which specializes in the production of livestock vaccines here in Gaborone. And it is there where I got a bit too comfortable using the Setswana language. So comfortable that at my first interview, my first interview at the company, by the way, I was told, feel free to use Setswana or English when answering these questions. I remember thinking, Setswana, interview, that doesn't sound right. But perhaps if I get stuck, I could rely on Setswana. I mean, I know what a virus is in Setswana. But do I know what sterilization and inactivation is? Oh well, I guess I can't use Setswana. And therefore I stuck to English. Unfortunately, I did not get that job. But the interview experience taught me something. I needed to be able to articulate myself. I needed to be able to translate my intellect into my words and have my abilities be spoken for. Thus, I revisited the idea of Toastmasters. I found Gaborone Toastmasters Club on LinkedIn, followed them promptly, and enjoyed their content. But at the time, I figured I don't afford Toastmasters. I cannot afford it on the small internship stipend, and therefore I did not join. I ultimately got hired, and I figured, getting a job is what will give me back my confidence. It did not. Sorry to burst your bubble. It did not. And I finally took the plunge in August of 2022 when I joined this movement. And I have reaped insurmountable, astounding benefits from being a part of this community. I have changed my life, both personal and professional, in many ways because of the courage that Toastmasters has given me. Tonight, I embark on a new pathway, and ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say, this is me. I thank you.
Halala, halala. Mapala,
Halala.
Thank you, Toastmaster Timelo, for that inspiring speech. Now, I'm not doing this to embarrass anybody or to expose anybody. I just want us to share in the chat box. How long did it take you to give your first icebreaker speech after joining Toastmasters? Remember, this is not meant to embarrass anyone. This is not meant to expose anyone, but this is just done in the mood of celebrating 100 years of Toastmasters. How long did it take you to give your first icebreaker speech? I'll tell you later how long it took me. Thank you very much, Timelo Mapalala, for that inspiring speech once more. Then I'll be inviting onto the virtual stage. Oh, 2 weeks. Somebody took 2 weeks. I'll be inviting onto the virtual stage our evaluator number 2, Tshepo Makgoe, who will be evaluating Theo Maleje. While you are putting your answers in the chat box, Tshepo Makgoe, please share your speech objectives.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. I'll be evaluating Theo Maleje. Theo Maleje will be presenting Leadership Development Level 1 speech with a project number 4, Evaluation and Feedback speech number 1. His speech title is The Athlete's Odyssey, You Do Not Belong Here. The speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. And the purpose of this project is for Theo to present any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback that he will acquire from this presentation to his second speech. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Evaluator Tshepo Makgoe. Let me just quickly check my chat box to see how long did it take. Okay, it took someone 2 weeks. Another one, 6 weeks. Another one, I visited once, joined, and I gave it my first official meeting. Wow. It took me a month. I was always postponing. Same here. It took me about 2 months to give my first icebreaker. And thank goodness to Leah, who was my mentor back then, who encouraged me to give my first icebreaker. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be moving on to speaker number 2, Theo Malaria. I hope you'll also later share and tell us how long it took him to give his first icebreaker, as he's giving his 4th speech from his level 1 leadership development. Help me welcome Theo Malaria, the athlete Odyssey, you don't belong here. Theo Malaria.
The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. This is a quote by Nelson Mandela, which perfectly encapsulates my journey as an athlete. I may have not been a natural boxer, but I found my place and excelled in another sport. So let's dive deep into the athlete odyssey. You don't belong here. So at junior school, my friend joined a boxing club. I, being the competitive one, also joined the club. I was convinced that I was going to be the next Muhammad Ali. Little did I know that my ectomorph body type by that time was more suited to running than boxing. So during one of the training sessions, the training coach came to us, approached us, and said, today is the day in which you select the most suitable and perfect boxers. The boxers who truly belong here. A challenging day it was. So he then started up the session, an activity where he divided us into 2. Myself, ring. Okay, starting off with the boxing ring, started off with jumping on my sneakers, wearing some shorts, and a cool vest on that boxing ring. The referee signaled so that the match can begin. And the ring was sounded for the officiating of the match. Started off with jumping and moving around, practicing those moves that I got from training. I approached my opponent. Guess what? No movement, nothing at all. Being that active person, started with a punch to my opponent. He quickly blocked the punch and released a shot. In a blink of an eye, it was dark. What I remember from that darkness is that I had screams from people, screams from teammates. Teo, are you still there? Teo, are you still there? And some of them were trying to practice the CPR on me. Teo, are you still there? Teo, are you still there? That is what I remember from that day. The next thing is that I woke up at a hospital. At a hospital bed. I thought I was going to be a boxing champion, not a patient. But hey, at least I got a week off from school. And the following week, when I returned to the boxing practice, the coach's words were like a cold shower on a hot day. You don't belong here. Talk about a reality check. I guess he didn't appreciate my unique fighting style. After the disappointing boxing experience, I decided to join the 200-meter sprint team, the athletic team. And to my surprise, I excelled in that sport, and I was even given a nickname, Bolt. During one of the training sessions, we had a lot of people around the field for our next school competition. At the line, and the referee said, "Get set," with I getting ready to get ready, set, and with the sound of a gun, bang, that was me. 100 meters, 100 meters. I went into 100 meters. I believe that I saw my competitors the very first 50 meters of the sprint. Afterwards, at the bend, was just cruising nicely. And the crowd kept cheering, "Bolt, Bolt, Bolt, Bolt." That was me there. To the finishing line, I noticed something. I was the only one there at the finishing line by that time. And that's how I got my name, Bolt. While my boxing career was short-lived, it taught me a valuable lesson. Sometimes you need to try new things to find your true calling. And in my case, that calling turned out to be running. So next time, when someone tells you you don't belong here, remember my story. It might just be the push you need to discover your new hidden talent and become a champion in your own right. If you get it, if you get hit in one eye, don't worry. The other eye can see the future. Well, I might have not been a boxing champion, but my eye for opportunity led me to a new spot where I truly shined. Toastmaster of the day, thank you. Over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Bolt. Thank you, Toastmaster Theo, for also another inspiring speech. I want to ask you this question. How many of us here, or is there anyone here Who has ever felt like they don't belong here? If you've ever felt like, I don't belong here, this is too hard, this is too complicated for me, I can't do this anymore. Maybe this is for Leah, maybe this is for Timelo. If you're there, can I just see by show of hands? Anybody? Anybody who's ever felt like, I don't belong here? This is too much work for me. This is too much for me. I see Tabura. I see Ritabile. Anybody? I see Smangele. I want to believe most of us have felt like that, felt like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm giving up. Or we've had our moment when somebody was practicing that CPR on us, especially our VPEs, asking us, Lame, are you still there? Anyway, thank you, Toastmaster Theo. And also thank you to our VPEs, our presidents, our mentors who are always practicing that CPR on us, always encouraging us to take up roles, always encouraging us to give our speeches and everything. We'll be moving on to our last speaker for this evening, and I'll be inviting her evaluator, Toastmaster Mpho Kabelo, who will introduce. I can see Ritabile is ready. Let's go, Ritabile. I can see. Yes, I like that. I like the spirit. Yes. Mpho, please introduce Ritabile's speech objectives. Toastmaster Mpho. Madam Zoom Master, is Toastmaster Mpho still in the meeting? Okay, there she is. You can go ahead, Toastmaster Mpho. Toastmaster Mpho, Zoom Master.
She is unmuted.
Okay.
I'm not too sure why she's not able to speak, but maybe she can hear. But maybe let me just read the speech objectives for Ritabile, and hopefully the evaluator will evaluate her. So the speech objectives of our next speaker, Ritabile, the purpose of the project is for the member to practice developing and presenting a longer speech. So the member is completing this project and has been working to build the skills necessary to engage an audience for an extended period of time. So as it said, an extended period of time because this speech will be for about 20 minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Zoom Master, for assisting. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome onto the virtual stage Ritabile Seiso with Silencing My Inner Fears. Silencing My Inner Fears, Ritabile Seiso.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. To you, Toastmasters, have you ever asked yourself, why did you join Toastmasters? Really going deep down, why did you join Toastmasters? To you, my fellow guests, who wants to join Toastmasters, ask yourself, why do you want to join Toastmasters? I joined Toastmasters in 2021 after I had some intimidating moments out there. Why intimidating? This was a time where I joined my recent employer. I was new in the company and joined as an assistant geotechnical engineer. So my manager by then is somebody who believes in development, and he believes that we need to be on board because we were new. What we were doing before then was different. So in mining, in open pit mining, there is what we call the large open pit guidelines. So this is a guideline that assists us to ensure that there is best practice in our processes. It guides us. So in this book, it starts with data collection, design, and then there is where now you have to implement that design. Implementing the design, it's where now you blast your material, you take that material, now you go dump it in the waste dumps. So I had to read about that chapter. I prepared, I got my story right, and I know I was ready. The day of the presentation came. We were 4 of us, and unfortunately, I was the first one. I was wondering, what am I going to do? The first one, maybe can I get sick? Maybe can somebody go first? But unfortunately, their topics, they were the last ones on the book. Mine closure, waste dumps management. So there is no way they were going to present first. During the presentation, there was my presentation. They put the pulpit there. The team was the side. And guess what I did? This was me looking at the board. The door was there. I wish I could run, go to the door, or maybe can I go to the toilet so that I could delay? In my mind, another thought, maybe I should just get it done with, finish it up with it so that they can say whatever they wanted to say. That was me that time. I chose to stay. And to make it worse, my presentation was so dull, gray. And I was the only lady that time in our section. No green colors, no life into my presentation. It is that time where I felt I should join Toastmasters because I've seen it somewhere in Facebook. My friend was a Toastmaster. The anxiety that time, it was just way, way too much. They say the mountain that anxiety creates is usually overcome by one step, just one step at a time. That time, my step was Toastmasters. I didn't even waste any time. Went to Facebook, found a link, and I was a guest. Unfortunately, again, when I was a guest that time, I remember the distinguished Toastmaster Richard Peck was invited to a Gaborone Toastmasters that time. And when the meeting ended, I was chosen again. How did the meeting go? How did you feel? I think I'm in the wrong place. No, I think I should just leave this one. Where we can just be chosen to say something. These people don't even know me. Why? I couldn't even unmute or switch on the camera. I was like this behind my camera. They want to see me. They want to intimidate me. No. That one, I won't even do. The meeting ended. After that, I had a long conversation with Bami Mutsumi that time. And that's when I decided to pay. I attended, started my projects, my pathways. And unfortunately, after maybe 3 months or so, I had to go on a long leave. Then my pathway, I had to stop it for some time. And when I came back now, at work, before I went to leave, I was working shifts. There was so limited interaction between me and the management. Now, when I came back, I had to move away from shifts. Now, the interaction with management was just too much. I had to sit in meetings. I have to participate in meetings. I have to give presentations. Oh, what do these people need from me? I had to pull myself together. Back to my meetings now. Taking part in my meetings. My journey in Toastmasters, it was really great. It was challenging. It was worth it. Let me just take you through the journey. It was so exciting. At work, because I mainly joined Toastmasters because at work, I didn't want to be that intimidated. When I came back just 2 weeks back at work, I had to deliver a presentation. That was a technical presentation because when you are in a mining environment or in the corporate world, you need to hit your ground running. You need to be there doing the work. There's no time to say, I will study and at my own time, I will go back and then I will join you on the way. There's nothing like that. So I had to deliver this presentation. And in that meeting, there sits the assistant general manager of the mine. There sits senior managers. There sits managers. There sits seniors, engineers. That's it, my colleagues. That time. Do you know the time where you have anxiety coming, overwhelming, where you feel like, can I just tell my boss I'm sick? Can I at least give this to my colleague? That was what I was thinking. And I remember one quote, one day I was just browsing through the internet where they say, it's okay. It's okay to feel scared, to feel that fear. Because when you feel scared, you know that you are about to do something so brave. It wasn't that moment of saying, no. The worst thing that can happen to me, maybe because I was sitting on the other side of Teams, is me just falling down and fainting here. But that's not going to happen. The people be on the other side, there's nothing that they can do to me. They need to listen to me because this is my story. The report was done by me. I went into that meeting. I delivered that presentation. Guess what happened after that? After the meeting, one of the managers came to my office and told me that there's an engagement, GM's engagement, and they need a facilitator. Facilitating. And this was a time where the GM always comes with his entourage. The ExCo is always there, HODs for different departments. And I was facilitating an engagement for 2 departments. An engineering department is one of the largest departments that we have, and our department. And this time around, it was a physical engagement, and I had to facilitate. After that facilitation, my colleague just said, That was an astounding facilitation. I didn't know that you can do that. How did you do that? Proudly, I said, Toastmasters, you need to register Toastmasters. What is Toastmasters? When we were working to our office, now I started talking about Toastmasters, what you need to do. I remember that time I was on my phone with the voice notes to other team members that wanted to know about Toastmasters. So I was busy that time because I felt good about it. These days, I can just pitch in. What do you think, Rtabile? They call me Lala at work. What do you think, Lala? And I just jump in. Recently, at work, there is monthly, every month, there is what we call management brief. And every month, there is a department that hosts that meeting. So our 10 was the beginning of this month of October. So we had to facilitate and give other shares. So there's this other share they call I'm Safe. So I'm Safe stands for illnesses, medication. Then S is for stress. A is for alcohol and drug abuse. F is for fatigue. E is for emotions. So it says every employee, when they come to work, they should check themselves whether they are safe. Are you safe? I'm safe. You need to assess yourself. So I had to give a share on this I'm safe. Imagine how many slides did I have? And this was only for 3 minutes. I had 2 slides for 3 minutes. This was the time when I thought, whoo, Toastmasters and table topics. Now they are here. Toastmasters and evaluations, 3 minutes. And I have 2 slides. I couldn't even sleep because I was busy in front of my camera trying to come up with information for those 2 slides for 3 minutes. I remembered the first project, that is the icebreaker. The objectives for the icebreaker is to introduce yourself and learn the basic structures of the speech. That is your introduction, body, and your conclusion, a call to action. I had to think about it in that 3 minutes. And voila, I delivered my 2 slides in 3 minutes. How did I do that? How did I overcome this anxiety, this fear that I had in 2021 through to 2024? You know why? Because to me, Toastmasters is not all about giving our speeches, building my confidence, and delivering those, not building my leadership skills. To me, Toastmasters is family. Toastmasters is love. Toastmasters as care. Toastmasters as sympathy. Toastmasters as a family of people who wants to lift you from where you are and keep you here, bring you here so that you can fly. Be whoever you want to be. Go wherever you want to go. The anxiety, you get through it because of support. Some people, through their depression, through their anxiety, through their fears, they would go to the pastor. They would go counseling. Toastmasters is all that, because this is where you can come as a guest. This is how you can come as a member and pull up your chair and sit in your bed or on your couch and you listen to people's stories, motivating stories, inspirations, because these are the people who care about you. Imagine what you can do with a community behind you, a community that is not getting tired. The VPEs, I was a secretary at some point, and it's because of the VPE, because They were there to take my hand and walk with me. Because when you give your speech, think about it. When you give your speech, you don't give your speech alone. You have your Toastmasters of the day, your grammarian, your timer. There's a table topics also. There's the evaluations also. You need about 6 people or 5 people so that you can progress. That is so much support. And imagine given that environment that is so safe that you can even make mistakes and have people who are there to correct you in a positive manner. Most people don't have that, but we do have that here. I joined Toastmasters because there is support. There are people who are taking 2 hours of their time to be here. When I was going through my pathway, and some of the awards, I remember Leah getting an award of being an emissary. I went, emissary, what is this thing? Okay. She visits clubs and assists the clubs. Okay. Let me join. I started being an emissary. I went to clubs. I learned how people were doing things in that club. I learned a lot. Because when you join these clubs also, you are helping somebody, you are supporting somebody who has that anxiety. Because you are there to give a speech in front of 50 people, 20 people. We have created that time. So, fellow Toastmasters, it has been a journey. It has been fun. They say, if it's not fun, it's not Toastmasters. That's true. It's fun. I always say Toastmasters is a master's class. Where will you get to learn about stilettos, project management, financial management, in a single setting with amazing people who are going to give you support. To you, my guest, Toastmasters as family, if you have anxiety, if you have fear, remember, it's okay. It is okay to feel scared because you're about to give your icebreaker. You are that brave. Remember, let fear be your counselor. Don't let it be a jailer for you. Don't let it stop you from coming out because you are a Toastmaster after all. Thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tabile. Now, can I see from here who is going to confront that inner fears? Can I see your hands? Can I see those emojis from here? Who is going to confront that inner fears? Who is going to give it a shot? Who's going to take up a role? Who's going to give a speech? I see Bonolo, I see Tumelo. Anybody else? I see Buipelo, Indila. Anybody else? Who's going to confront our fears from here? I see Lola, I see Smangele. Now, can I see who is going to make a contribution to that community or to the environment with everything that they learned from tonight's meeting? They still again, Bipelo, Bonolo. There are 36 people in the room and I'm only seeing 5 hands. Who's going to make a contribution with everything that they learned from today's meeting? I see Division G? More hands. Can I see those emojis? Can I see those emojis? From anybody who is saying, with everything that I learned from this meeting, I'm going to make a contribution to my community or to my society. Okay, I guess people are still reflecting, people are still chewing on what they got this evening. I just want to say thank you very much to all our speakers with Andrew tonight, who gave us an educational on what is your contribution. And we had Timelo Mapalala giving her icebreaker, her second icebreaker. This is a me. And we had Theo, our bold, and we had Rekabile, say so with silencing my inner fears. That brings us now to the timekeeper's report. Toastmaster Matsidi, so please give us the report of how we did with our allotted times.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Our first speaker, Mr. Tsuru, spoke for 15 minutes, 30 seconds, which is well within time. Tumelo, whose speech was supposed to be 4 to 6 minutes, spoke for 6 minutes, 10 seconds. And our third speaker, Theo, whose speech was supposed to be 5 to 7 minutes, spoke for 8 minutes, 10 seconds. He was a little over time by 1 minute, 10 seconds. And our last speaker, Tabile, whose speech was 15 to 20 minutes, spoke for 19 minutes, 30 seconds, which is well within time. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you.
I'm muted. Thank you, Toastmaster Matsidiso, for that timer's report. As we always say, if it's not Toastmasters, it's not fun. We are getting into another interesting segment of our Toastmasters program, which is the table topics. And Tato, there are 35 participants in this room, and we have only had 4 speakers, which means you have a whole group of people to participate in this section. All the best.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Exactly, you have made half of my job. Just a few seconds back, you asked who is ready to confront the inner fears. And I saw a couple of volunteers, probably that are ready to confront their inner fears. So table topics, as I mentioned before, it's impromptu speeches. It trains you to think on your feet. So when I call you or when you volunteer, I will ask you to speak at least for 1 minute. You have 1 to 2 minutes. As you all know, tonight's theme is all about celebrating 100 years of Toastmasters. So I have ample questions, close to 100, but because of time, I'm a bit disappointed because I can't even go through all those 100 questions. So I will need volunteers, 4 to volunteer and pick a question between 1 and 10. Volunteer, already I'm seeing the volunteer. Elothius, are you volunteering?
Yes. Can you hear me and see me?
Great, I see you. You have 1 to 10. You can just choose between 1 to 10 the question that you want me to ask you.
10, because it is October.
Pardon?
I choose 10 because it is October.
10, all right, great. Okay, here's the question. If you could offer advice to someone who doesn't know anything about Toastmasters, what would it be?
Can you repeat once?
If you could offer advice to someone or anyone who doesn't know anything about Toastmasters, what would it be?
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, prospective Toastmasters, here I am, a member of Toastmasters International. This organization has helped a lot of people in the last 100 years or 1 century. And this specific organization have developed me to become a keynote speaker, workshop speaker, educational speaker, panelist about podcasting, comedy, soft skills. And I just recently got inducted into the National Book of Record of Malaysia for 1 or 2 hours non-stop training to celebrate this centennial Toastmasters International. And also I got featured into Toastmasters International July 2024, page 11 this year, 2024, the year of 100. This is definitely a go-to platform if you want to make your knowledge astounding as a speaker. I have spoken more than 10 countries. In Toastmasters, I have attended like 100 countries, more than 5,000 clubs all around the world in the past 4 years. If I can, you can. So let's join Toastmasters, sign those membership form, pay the dues, and enjoy the learning process. Back to you, Titian.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Elias. Toastmasters have developed you to be a better speaker. You managed to be a keynote speaker, even a panelist who has spoken in several countries because of Toastmasters. Thank you very much. Another volunteer? Volunteer? Before I choose the volunteers that raised their hands when Toastmaster was asking about confronting the fears.
There's Bonolo, Tato.
Oh, all right, great. Bonolo, between 1 and 9, 10 already chosen.
Let me choose 2.
Number 2, great. All right, here's the question. In the rich history of Toastmasters, a lot happened. Do you think people can change? And if why or why not?
Pardon, can you please repeat the question?
Oh, okay. Toastmasters has a rich history. And in this rich history of Toastmasters, there's a lot that happened in that era. Do you think, on your own opinion, that people can change? If they can change, why do you believe in with the statement that people can change, or why not if you don't believe in it?
All right, thank you so much for that question. Can you see me?
Only the background.
Okay, may I please, I don't know if this is allowed, may I please choose to do this without the video because I don't know what is happening to my connection this side.
Great, you can go ahead, Bonolo.
All right, thank you so much for the question. Do I believe people can change looking at the rich history of Toastmasters? That was the question, right?
Exactly.
All right. Definitely, I believe people can change. I have had beautiful stories ever since I joined Toastmasters as a guest up to where I am now as a member of Toastmasters. I've had beautiful stories of how people have changed their lives, how they have transformed their lives in corporate, in different leadership roles through this platform. So I definitely believe that I have answered your question right there.
Great. No, thank you very much, Bonolo. Thank you very much, Bonolo. Precise to the point, people can change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
one
much.
last volunteer. We are running behind time. One last volunteer. Going once is an opportunity to take part in tonight's program. and we should always relish for these moments. Let me choose Omata. Omata, are you there?
Toastmaster
Okay,
Boipelo has raised her
Boipelo.
hand. Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Boipelo, take an opportunity. Here is an opportunity. You can choose between 2 already taken and 10. You can choose between all the remaining. Great.
I'll go for number 3, please.
Number 3.
Yes.
Okay, here's the question. As Toastmasters is celebrating 100 years, you are given an opportunity to rewrite or to convince us of a change in the purpose or mission statement of Toastmasters. If you are given that opportunity, the floor is yours. Just convince us if you can change the purpose or the mission statement of Toastmasters.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Good evening, guests. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Looking back to the why of Toastmasters, the purpose of Toastmasters, and what it intends to achieve, which is really helping us to develop leadership skills, to develop communication skills. I would say that I wouldn't really change that statement because a lot of us have benefited from that. So I would continue it, probably enhance it by coming up with programs that are targeted. I don't know how to enhance it, but it would be more of enhancing than changing the original intention. I thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Boipelo. Toastmasters is doing a lot. You will just be enhancing it to make even better. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, thank you very much for those that participated on the table topics. You confronted your fears. Because of time, I wanted to ask 100 questions, but I don't have that time. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tato. You can keep those 100 questions. We still have more Toastmasters meetings. I believe you'd take and use that opportunity to ask the 100 questions. Thank you very much. And to everyone who participated, who took part, who put up a hand to confront their fears. We'll be moving on to another interesting segment of our meeting. I hope you've been listening because Toastmaster Hasina is coming to the virtual stage to test our listening skills. So with this segment, I'm going to request that we all unmute ourselves. If we can all unmute yourselves. Can we unmute ourselves? Can we unmute ourselves? Okay. Toastmaster Hasina, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Good evening once again. Okay. So my question will test your observation, your listening, effective listening, and also some perspectives of yours. So the first question is, when Toastmaster Tumelo Mapalala first heard about Toastmasters Club, and why did she reject at that time?
Adult content.
Pardon? You couldn't afford it.
Did you hear my question?
Yes.
Okay. So why Tumelo Mapalala, she rejected the idea of joining Toastmaster when she heard for the first time?
Because she thought it was for grown-ups.
Adult content.
Yes. that it is for an adult thing. Okay, what was the key message that our distinguished guest speaker Andrew Tsuru emphasized on?
What is your contribution?
What was the key message that our distinguished guest speaker emphasized on it? The key message by Toastmaster Andrew Tsuru.
What is our contribution to the community?
Perfect, perfect. Okay, this one is easy. What was the nickname given to Toastmaster Theo?
Bolt.
Bolt.
Yes, yes. And this is the funny one. What three things Toastmaster Theo did as soon as he appeared on the virtual screen? What three things Toastmaster Theo did when he appeared on the virtual screen?
He removed a
The
towel.
towel.
He
Remove
took
the
off the glasses.
glasses, towel.
So all of you were observant, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So our founder, Dr. Ralph S. Medley, he took the sigh of relief after how many years?
20.
Quick. Thank you.
20 years.
20 years, yes. Okay. How did Toastmaster Rethabile felt when she attended first time Toastmaster meeting as a guest and she was asked that what is her reaction after attending that meeting? What was her reactions?
She was scared.
Intimidated.
Felt like
Yes.
we are a family.
She was
Okay.
disappointed that she was asked to speak on her first attendance.
Yes. And what Toastmaster Rethabile, what was the main persuasive argument Toastmaster Rethabile given to us today on this day? What did she describe Toastmaster as a
family?
As a family.
As a family, yes. And her argument was that join Toastmaster has multiple benefits, and it was the most suitable for this day. Okay, why table topic number 10 was chosen by our guest Toastmaster from
Malaysia.
From Indonesia.
Malaysia.
Yeah.
Malaysia.
Yes.
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Why did he choose number 10?
Because it's October.
It's October.
Okay. You are all so much observant, and I have chosen very funny and simple questions to keep your mood joyous. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hasina, for facilitating that segment. Ladies and gentlemen, my job, actually not my time, my job is done as your Toastmaster of the day. We'll be watching a video, and right after the video, I'll be handing over to the general evaluator who will be taking us through the evaluation segment. I'd like to say thank you very much for all our speakers. Thank you very much for all the role players who made this meeting possible. Thank you to all the attendants, all who participated, all who commented in the chat box and made sure that this meeting was an enjoyable one. Madam Zoommaster, are you ready with the video?
I think we can just go straight to the evaluation, just
Okay.
to time.
So we will come back to the next meeting to come and watch this video. It's one video that you shouldn't miss. So Madam Zoom Master, please keep it safe for next meeting. I'll be handing over to General Evaluator. Toastmaster Omatla, are you ready to take us through?
Yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Lame, for this opportunity. I have been privileged to be the General Evaluator for today's meeting. And as I have stated from the beginning of this meeting, I'm not alone. I have fellow Toastmasters who are going to make this role easier for me. So first of all, we are going to go on to prepare speeches evaluations. And I'll start off by welcoming Toastmaster Simangele Chabalala to give us feedback of Tumelo's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Simangele. Am I audible enough?
Thank you so much.
Hello, Toastmaster Lame.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Madam General Evaluator, can you hear me?
Hello, Toastmaster Leah.
Yes,
we can
Toastmaster
hear you.
Mangele, we can hear you. You can go ahead with your evaluation.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Am I audible enough?
My feedback for evaluating Madam President Tumelo Mapalala. It was such an honor to evaluate you on your second icebreaker speech. I was honored and thank you so much for your wonderful icebreaker speech. You excelled at delivering your speech. You were so comfortable with the audience. I should see that. And you were so confident as well. You made me feel so inspired and motivated. Well done on that. Areas of improvement is just to fix the background and use the background logos that are provided from your club, because it represents your club very well to us visitors and guests. We were able to see you, the club that you are presenting. So you can just work on that. But overall, well done on your speech. I'm inspired, Madam President. Thank you.
We seem to have lost our general evaluator. So I'd like to request our next evaluator, and that was Support, if you could please give the evaluation for our second speaker.
Thank you, Interim Madam General Evaluator. I had an opportunity to evaluate Pearl Malema, Level 1, Project 4, with a speech titled, The Athlete's Odyssey, You Don't Belong Here. Starting off with what he excelled on, Theo, your entrance was very captivating. I liked how you walked on stage all dressed up, making the audience wanting to find out more on your next move. You then continue to open your speech with a quote from Nelson Mandela, which was also very impressive, very articulate, and delivered a well-structured speech. You are very relaxed and confident. You also delivered your speech standing, which made it easy for the audience to follow your hand gestures and movements. You might want to work on the length of your pauses, more especially when you are transitioning from your jumping up and down, when you are showing how you prepared for the boxing match, to then continuing with your speech. Also make sure that your hand gestures are purposeful to ensure that they are not distracting. Finally, you may also want to challenge yourself on structuring your speech to ensure that it falls within the allotted time. In closing, congratulations on delivering a well-prepared speech and all the best for your next speech. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tshepo Mahoe, for that wonderful evaluation. And then we will be taking our last evaluation on prepared speeches, Toastmaster Mpokabelo.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My sincere apologies. I'm actually struggling with my connection. I hope I am audible. Please confirm if I'm audible so that I'll quickly give my evaluation for the table.
You are audible.
All right. Thank you so much. I had the pleasure of evaluating Retabile. Well done, Retabile. Let me just talk about things that you excelled on. I like the fact that when you came into the visual stage, you asked us about 2 questions. One of the questions was, why did you join Toastmasters? That's one of the captivating statements or opening that we highly recommend that people should do when they start their speech presentations. And I also like the fact that you threw in a lot of rhetorical questions throughout your presentations. Those are thought-provoking questions. We are processing what you are talking about. You say some things like, can I call in sick when you were not sure of whether you should continue, whether you should do your presentation, you were just so scared. Can I give this to one of my colleagues to do it? You took us through the journey that most people can resonate with when you were asked to present and you were just so scared. And I also like the fact that you told us why you joined Toastmasters, simply because you were asked to present at work. I also liked how you took us through your vulnerability, especially when you were made to present. There were 21 questions running into your mind. You shared good nuggets on how to become the best speaker. I also like the fact that you appreciated the value that Toastmasters has in our lives. All of us, we can relate to that. We have become the better versions of ourselves through Toastmasters. Anyone listening could just be enticed, and I believe we can make a very good salesperson, in as much as at some point you had your colleagues asking, how did you do this, Retabile? And I like the voice variation that you incorporated when your colleagues asked, when you said Toastmasters, you shouted the word Toastmasters, to say, all this that you are seeing, it's because of Toastmasters. I like the fact that you used your hand gestures. There's a point where you folded your arms when you're demonstrating to us that you were there, seated at the back, and I could see most of the hand gestures where you were pointing, showing, and emphasizing on the things that you were talking about. Just areas of improvement, some things that I want you to take home with as okay. Before that, I also like the fact that when you're concluding, you gave us 2 takeaways. You said it is okay to feel scared. Let fear be your counselor. Don't let it stop you from coming out. And one last thing that you excelled at, I like the fact that you also threw in, I think, a couple of quotes. One of that you said it's okay to feel scared, to feel that fear, because when you feel scared, you know that you're actually doing the right thing. They're saying if it doesn't scare you, it's not real. So if it scares you, it means no, you are doing the right thing. Just a few key takeaways for you. When you're showing your vulnerability, I would like to challenge you to lower your voice, speak in a lower tone, just to indicate that you are vulnerable at some point in time when you were asked to do your speech presentation. And since this is a lengthy speech, about 18 to 22 minutes, I would ask that next time, please make it an interactive session where you have your audience. Those questions you can just ask, the rhetorical questions that you were asked, some of them, please make them interactive so that you ask your audience to answer them and look for the answers in the chat. Well done for conquering your fears, Retabile, and I look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mpho, for that detailed evaluation. And that was a wrap for the prepared speeches session evaluations. And then now we will be moving on to our role players. So I'm going to start off by calling the timekeeper to come and give the report, followed by the grammarian and the R counter. And I'll later come to just give the overall evaluation of the meeting. So over to you, the timer.
Oh, thank you, Madam General Evaluator. On the table topics, our first speaker, Mr. Elios, spoke for 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Bonolo spoke for 1 minute, 20 seconds, and Wipulo spoke for 1 minute. Remember, the table topic is supposed to be not more than 2 minutes. And then the Hackmaster session took 3 minutes, 30 seconds. The evaluations report, Simangele, who was evaluating Tumelo Mapalala, took 1 minute, 16 seconds. Our evaluator number 2, Tepo, took 1 minute, 45 seconds. And our last evaluator, Mpokabelo, took 3 minutes, 45 seconds. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. We can now have the grammarian on stage to share his report.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. As a gentle reminder, the word of the day was the word astounding, and I'm pleased to report that there was an astounding use of the word of the day. Toastmaster Andrew used it twice, Toastmaster Hasina used it once, Toastmaster Timelo twice, Toastmaster Tagile once, and Toastmaster Elios used it once as well. Some noteworthy words and phrases I picked up on throughout the meeting include: Toastmasters is the vehicle for public speaking. We lead through speaking. A Zig Ziglar quote that says, "You can have everything in life you want if you will just help other people get what they want." I was the brain, not so much the mouth. The word rowdy, articulate my intellect, took the plunge, insurmountable, embark on a new pathway. A Nelson Mandela quote, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." The phrase, "in a blink of an eye." The simile, "like a cold shower on a hot day." The adjective, dull. The quote, I believe, "The mountain that anxiety creates is usually overcome with one step." The word, emissary. And lastly, "Let fear be your counselor. Don't let it be your jailer." Thank you. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that beautiful evaluation. And then lastly, we will be handing over to our R encounter to give us the report.
Thank you, Madam Evaluator. During this meeting, I tried to take note of the clash words, the further feeders, and I tried to listen to the but the speakers were astounding. As such, I didn't pick any. Thank you, Madam Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will be moving on to our detailed evaluation of our meeting. So first of all, I would love to start off by saying that the meeting really started very well. So even role players, they were able to join the meeting earlier so that any technical issues can be fixed, which I believe everyone was able to join, and then they were able to get familiar with most of I would say the system, how it is working. And then moving on to the energy in the meeting. So our Toastmaster of the day, Lame, was very, very energetic. she started the meeting very well by setting the tone high. She kept on, you know, asking questions to engage the audience, if I may put it in that way. So in that way, we were able to get into the meeting. We were able to have that excitement for the meeting to begin. And this is something that she kept on doing during the course of the meeting. She kept on bringing us into the meeting by asking questions and also engaging us, encouraging us to drop our comments in the chat section, which I believe it was a very good thing. And then moving on to the toast. Also, I believe that it was a very, you know, interesting section where Toastmaster Leah asked us that we should take anything to do a toast. And she was quite an example where she demonstrated by having a cup of glass. So I think in that way, she brought us in the meeting so that we can also be part of it. And the program, when it started, Toastmaster of the day, she started by in the role, put it in that way to say someone who is new to Toastmasters, it was easier for them to follow through the program in that manner. And then moving on to our prepared speeches, I believe also that they were quite, you know, interactive, they were quite amazing. And in overall, I can say that Gaborone I'm very sorry. Gaborone Toastmasters was able to host a very successful meeting with so much energy, with so much engagement, and with so much, you know, preparation. So I can say that in terms of meeting preparation and structure, Gaborone Toastmasters did very well in that area. And I think that there are just a lot of good points about this meeting. And in terms of the learning points, I will say the only thing that I picked was time, because for now we are just 9 minutes away from the time which we could have, you know, finished our meeting. And I believe that overall, this was a very successful meeting, and I look forward to the next meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be handing over to the president of Gaborone Toastmasters to do a closing remark.
You are muted,
Thank you,
Tumelo.
Madam General Evaluator, for that wonderful feedback for our club. It's meant to grow the club, and we greatly appreciate it. That was President of Gaborone Breakfast Club, as you could tell. Yes, thank you, Umatalepo, for that feedback. Madam SAA/VPE VPM, are we ready for awards and recognitions? Any recognitions we'd like to give to our visiting Toastmasters who supported us tonight?
Yes, so we just want to say thank you to the visiting Toastmasters, our counter, Alexis, thank you so much for joining us. And then our evaluators, Mangeli, thank you so much for coming to evaluate. Mpo Kabelo, our also evaluator. And finally, Umatla, who was our general evaluator. Thank you so much for coming to assist us.
Thank you, Madam SAA. Before I close, I'd like to give 2 announcements. Our renewals are still open, and as I always say, the club is self-pay enabled, meaning you can log on to our toastmasters.org website and process your own payment. In the event that you struggle, you can reach out to either me or Leah to assist you in this process. Our next meeting, however, is on the 5th of November, so 2 weeks from now, we'll be convening once again on this Zoom platform for our first meeting of the month of November. With that said, I'd like to close. As we bring tonight's celebration to a close, I want to take a moment to thank each one of you for being part of this historic occasion. A very special welcome or a very special thank you, perhaps, is to our wonderful guest, distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Tsuru, who graced us with his presence tonight and gave us many a nugget of wisdom. We've celebrated not only 100 years of Toastmasters, but also the personal growth, community, and connection that make this organization so special. As we leave here tonight, let's carry the spirit of Toastmasters with us. That is the courage to speak up, the drive to lead, and the commitment to support each other on our journeys. The past century has shown us what's possible when we come together to learn and grow. Imagine what we can achieve in the next 100 years. Thank you again for making the celebration memorable. And here's to the future of Gaborone Toastmasters and Toastmasters International. Good night. But before you leave, please stick around for a group photo. Leah, are you able to assist us? Please.
Yes, I can do
Switch
that.
on your cameras. Yes, switch on your cameras so we can take a group photo. Thank you so much for coming. I see
can see the
people are
cameras are
switching on
coming
their
on.
cameras. Yes,
But
let's give
we
it a
can't
minute.
see you. Denise, oh, there we go.
Yes, I see Tepo, I see
Excellent.
Atang there, I see Hasina, I see Lipelo. Please switch on your cameras for a group photo. When you're ready.
Yeah, okay, just give me, so I would say, let's see some big smiles. And all right.
Yes, thank you so much, Leah. That brings us to the end of our meeting. If you are a guest and you thoroughly enjoyed the meeting, please stay behind so we can chit-chat for a little while. Leah, please end the recording at this moment. Thank you.